Hello and welcome to Sound Check by Support Act. I'm looking at myself feeling particularly haggard this morning. But if you too are feeling like you've got some issues, make sure you call the Support Act Wellbeing Helpline on 1-800-959-500. And I'm very happy to say that I'm joined this morning by Vanessa Amorosi. Good morning, Vanessa.
Hey.
Or good afternoon.
Yeah, it's the afternoon here.
So where are you and what time is it?
It's just going on 4 o'clock. I'm in Los Angeles and I've just snuck away to a gym that I own with my partner. So I had better reception here, so I'm not breaking up every 5 seconds.
Yeah, beautiful. That's good. Well, I feel like, I've said it before, but I feel like because everyone is conducting these interviews via Zoom, that at the moment our production values are probably equal to that of, you know, the ABC or whatnot. So it's good to see you in HD from LA. I feel like we're very...
I don't know if it's HD, but we're trying.
I've been quite enjoying the face smoother that you can get on Zoom. I don't know if you found that setting yet. That's a good one.
No, I haven't played enough on this app, but that would save my life because I'm tired of doing makeup.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, okay, that's why I look so good. And then I turned it off and I was like, bummer. Anyway, how's life in lockdown in Los Angeles going?
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't really complain. I mean, I'm lucky enough that I have a good block, a good sized block with a bunch of animals on there. So that keeps me a bit together. And then I have my studio there, but it's, I don't know, it's definitely a reality adjustment because I went from touring pretty heavily last year to coming back here literally just to repack my bags and hit the road again. And it all just stopped very abruptly.
So abruptly. And that's a story that we've been hearing from heaps of artists, you know, like at all levels of the industry. Also people who work as crew, people who work in the industry as managers, labels, whatever it might be. It's just that kind of, we're over here in Australia, we're in the middle of our summer season and all of a sudden, bang, done. And in our last episode of Soundcheck, we talked about self-worth and like in what it means in this time where you're kind of in a holding pattern. My next question for you is about like, what have you been doing around the house to kind of stay, you know, mentally and physically kind of active and keeping yourself on an even keel creatively, I guess, as well?
Yeah, I've clicked straight into the other mode of just being creative and trying to turn out records. And I'm trying to focus all my energy into that. Normally I go through like a little process, like I try to wean myself off of the gigs and turn the thinking cap on to be creative. But because I haven't had that option, I've really thrown myself into the studio. Now, I've given myself crazy deadlines as well as my team. Me and my team decided that we should just try and throw a single out every Monday, which has become an extreme stressful mission. But I feel like it's definitely, you know, I feel like at least I'm doing something. I'm trying to keep my family still together. And I call the people that I work with my family as well. It's just to keep us occupied and mentally stimulated while this is going on. And then hopefully music can kind of bond my audience and myself, you know, through this experience. You know, it's a wonderful thing about music is that it does feel very therapeutic.
I can identify with that. I mean, my band Fools, we decided that we would do like one kind of online recorded song each week, which would just be on our iPhones. We'd compile it and put it out. And I thought, oh, once a week, that sounds easy. And then once you're in the middle of it, like, oh my God, like Monday comes around so fast every week.
It is a mission. It's like literally, you know, some of these songs on the Blacklisted Collection that we're putting together. I mean, the thought was for the last 8 months that I wanted to do this because, you know, I'm only known for doing pop music in Australia, but really behind the scenes, I write so many other different styles and I really immerse myself into different worlds. Say the gospel scene, I spent 7 years working that whole unit, and that's a world of its own. And you have to earn respect in those ranks to even get anywhere. And then it's the same with like working in doing rock music out here or doing a bluesy kind of thing. You have to earn your stripes. You've got to get in the trenches. You've got to start from the beginning and climb up. So I tend to disappear quite a lot because I get really into creating in different worlds other from pop music. So, you know, 8 months ago, my team was like, you know, shit, we need to pick just a few of these songs and put them out there because I know that I speak about it a lot in interviews, but no one puts 2 and 2 together. And I can sound like a completely different artist in these songs. So we've selected a few of them that aren't too crazy. I'm going to start pushing the crazy notch as we go along. But yeah, it's been a real mission turning it out every Monday, even though that they are Some are 10 years old, 5 years old. The single that's out right now was written in the last couple of weeks. But still bringing up old sessions, finding them among all the drivers is another mission. And then you've got stuff that's running off MIDI that's all now old, that needs upgrading. Now you've got to redo those samples and sounds. Now you've got to get it to someone to mix it. It's already a schmazzle. And you don't want to redo much, so you keep the magic of what the demo was in the beginning, and then it's got to get mastered. And this is all got to happen within a week. So it's a big moving chain of mayhem, but we've managed to pull it off so far. We're in our 4th week, and
so far so good.
We're learning as we go. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's probably relevant for me to mention why it was so important we had you on as a guest today. So your song Isolation, you have generously said that you're going to be donating some of the proceeds from that song to Support Act. So maybe you can explain a little bit about the song and why you thought Support Act was such a good cause to get behind at this time.
Well, I just recently did some stuff with Kate Sobrano, and that's how I found out about you guys. And I really thought, shit, if this was around when my parents were musicians, this could have really solved a lot of problems. And I do find now that I'm an adult, there's extreme highs with being on the road, extreme highs and extreme lows. Nothing about it is normal. Nothing about it is routine, not in my world. And you have to fly by the seat of your pants. So I do find like music has been the most incredible moments of my life, but it's also ruined a lot of my relationships with people because I'm not reliable. And I'm selfish, because the moment I get that phone call to be on the road, I'm gone. And it doesn't matter whether it was, you know, a party I was putting on. Guess what? I won't be at my own party. And I, now that I'm older, I understand that a lot. But I do find a lot of the people that I'm on the road with, and a lot of big musicians out here, I mean, when you speak with them and you speak with their families, I mean, some of those musicians come off the road and they get put into another house so that they can decompress before they even try to join the family again. And it's a really...
Another sort of quarantine, I guess.
Yeah, it's so hard to explain. And I know it sounds so wacky and weird, and everybody's like, oh, fuck.
I'm sure lots of people who are listening to this can totally identify with this.
You know, it's like everybody wants to be in the music industry. It's like this dream job, but they have no understanding of the amount of pressure. Like just a scenario, when you do those stage shows where there's a million acts jumping on there, and your crew have to cater to everybody that has a different preference in their monitors, in their ears, to a different way of playing. So you've got now a drummer that's hitting much lighter than the last drummer. Then you've got equipment that all needs to be swapped down and changed within seconds. And now the artist has got to walk on there and pretend everything's standing, but you know, they're screaming at the side of stage. So that pressure is extremely hard to explain to people, because it just looks so fabulous and so fun, but it's a pressure cooker. And if it's not running like A grade, holy shit, someone's getting their head on the chopping block, you know, like it's not a party after that. You're not going to like go hang out and be like, hey, if you've had a shit moment at a gig. So I just think about all those moments where you guys offer a line that people can call. Like that shit is needed in our world, because it is like extremely hot and cold. 1 minute, like even just taking that out of the scene, 1 minute you're on the top of the game. You're the artist that everybody wants to copy, and you're the front leader. Next minute you're in the bin and you've got to climb the ropes again. And you've got to, you know, like it's a really bizarre world, but it's like, I don't know, it's like an addiction, and it's a hard world to give up. And so you always kind of adapt and want to evolve with it. And you hope to God you last 20 to 30 years, because it's a ruthless world, really. Yeah.
And that kind of dichotomy, I guess, is what lots of people say, you know, like it's the best industry in the world to be a part of, whether you're like a crew member who's like building entire cities overnight for festivals.
I know.
A manager that's dealing with, you know, really hard to deal with artists, or you're the artists themselves, like that kind of the madness of it all, but then also the complete sense of fulfillment. I mean, how do you personally go from that kind of, you know, high functioning state to bringing yourself back down and having that time off? How do you do that?
Oh, I'm slightly crazy. I can't say I'm normal by any stretch of the matter. I mean, I'm lucky because I have horses and I've grown up in the country, so I really adapt that. So I find when I come off the road, I have to spend a few days like out shoveling horse shit and dealing with that world because they don't give a shit what's happened.
No microphones, no microphones.
Yeah, there's none of that, and it's like I don't know. That's how I decompress and get myself back to normal. But it's a real mission, and yeah, I don't know. I think we're all slightly a little bit wacky and nuts. And then you also have that miss, like, oh God, I miss being on the road. Like I had such a wonderful tour with Red Hot Summers and One Electric Days with Dwayne's team. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I'm missing family when I'm not on the road with them. So, I mean, that's also something that you don't plan for. Like with my band, I've been with them for years. So now not being able to be on the road with them is also like disconnecting from family. And this is family that you're with 24/7 when you're on the road. So I don't know.
It's true. It is very much about that family, and everyone says that. It's like, oh, I'm missing hanging out with my rigger or my guitar tech or my drummer or whatever it might be. So like, why do you think, I mean, this whole crisis, I mean, the music industry getting hit, or the entertainment industry getting hit in the way that it has. I mean, we're one of the first industries to be hit with cancellations here in Australia and kind of, decimating the livelihood of everyone. Musicians are always there in times of crisis, I guess, to do a benefit gig or to help a person in need or whatever. Why do you think musicians and artists are always so forthcoming to raise funds for others? So going back to your single, like you've just shown once again, you're keen to put your hand up and do a good thing for Support Act. Why do you think artists are always so happy to do that?
I think music brings us all together. It picks people up. It lifts people's spirit. It creates such a positive environment and vibe, and it just feels like we unite over music. So that's why it's always brought to the front line with all the fire stuff that just happened in Australia, and now everything's kind of going to this online streaming, and music's always going to be the first thing that people think of because it really does relate to so many different cultures, so many different age groups, and it just makes people feel great. With the single that I just released, that was a really, how do I explain it? Normally when I write songs, I go back in there and rewrite things so that it doesn't hit too close to home. This is probably the first time where I went, no, I'm going to leave it exactly how it is. And even just through the couple of weeks of getting it together, I was still very in doubt and asking my team, like, maybe I should get rid of that. Maybe we should get rid of the F-bomb. Maybe I should not tell people that, that I suffer with these type of issues by being in isolation. But the great thing is that I have found that there has been so many people, whether in the music industry or not, that are suffering with those same type of demons, that their mind is just running out of control. And so when going to put it out there, I thought, well, I'd love it to help in a really positive way. And I find that a lot of musicians have what I have when they come off the road. So, I hope it can make a bit of a difference.
It's a beautiful thing, and it's a great song, Vanessa. And of course, like that voice is incredible. I have to say, as a fellow singer, like amazing voice. I've always thought you had such an incredible voice. So good to hear you back and doing more music. And we're so thankful at Support Act for your support as well. And it's also part of this whole process. The reason why we're doing these sound checks is to kind of remove some of the stigma that people may feel around coming forward and seeking help around their kind of mental health struggles that they're having behind the scenes. So I just want to mention again, Support Act Wellbeing Helpline can be called on 1-800-959-500. Before we go, a couple of questions, Vanessa. What's the Blacklisted Collection? What's happening over the next few weeks? What can we expect song-wise? And also, where can people find the single if they want to have a listen?
So all the songs will be on streaming and on iTunes. And if you head to my socials, it just makes it easy for you. You can just swipe it up and it'll all be there. The Blacklisted Collection is a bunch of songs that would have never made my pop record. They're super diverse, very different. They have, a bit of a story behind it. Like the next single that's being released, it apparently wasn't an attractive lyric for a female to sing. So I love like those stories of like when you come into boardroom meetings with songs and you think, yeah, shit, this is what the world, like, I've got to say, if I was to go to a meeting with the song Isolation, you know how quick I would have been shut down. The fact is I opened my own label so I can get away with this shit. But I have so many songs where I could just go into the story of what they said and how. There was one song I did called Crawl, right? And the whole lyric goes on about how I'm going to crawl home to my partner because I fucked up. And they were like, oh my God, men don't want women crawling. That is so not sexy.
Oh.
And no woman wants to be the woman that's crawling. And I go, well, fuck, I did. I'm sorry.
Just keeping it real.
Song. But yeah, it's kind of that. And what I've been doing in our little newsletter is writing a bit of a blurb on why the song was chucked into the Blacklisted Collection. And, you know, it's been wonderful. And I'm glad that I'm kind of getting it out there and keeping myself sane, and hopefully, you know, people get a good vibe and feel better about being stuck in isolation through some of these quirky songs.
Well, it's sounding brilliant, Vanessa. Thank you so much for joining us today, Vanessa Amorosi. And if you like that, make sure you go and seek out the single Isolation, available on all streaming and iTunes, etc. And we look forward to hearing more from the Blacklisted Collection.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And what you're doing is just incredible. Like, I wish I would have found out about you guys sooner. It really is amazing what you guys are doing for the music industry at home.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. Chat soon.
Chat soon. Bye.